My name is Steve Rupp, and I'm blessed to be the president of Missouri Right to Life. We're going to talk a little bit about abortion, unfortunately, but we're going to talk about life because we can't talk about abortion without talking about what life is. I have a friend who's a doctor, and I asked him, when did my life begin? I think I know, but I want to hear it from a doctor's perspective. He said, every one of us has a mother and a father. Our mother had 23 chromosomes in her egg. Our father had 23 chromosomes in his sperm. The union of that egg and sperm, at that miraculous moment, our life on this earth began. We were complete with 46 chromosomes. That's our DNA. That's what makes us unique to any other human being who's ever walked. Now, there are some people who have been blessed with an extra chromosome and some people who have one less chromosome, but the vast majority of us have 46 chromosomes. That's us. That's who we are. At that miraculous moment, we were a single cell. And the first thing that we did on this earth was we began to grow. We divided from one cell into two cells, and then into 4 cells, and then into 8 cells, and then into 16 and 32 and 64. And after a couple of weeks, or after about a week, we were 200 cells. Those cells became our liver and our pancreas and our blood and our eyes and our hair and all the things that we are today were already there at that time. And at about 7 days, we then implanted into the wall of our mother's uterus to be able to feed from our mother. That developed our belly button and our umbilical cord. So if our mother had fried chicken, we had fried chicken. If our mother had toasted ravioli, we had toasted ravioli. Now, we didn't actually eat toasted ravioli, but we got the nutrients that went through our mother, through our umbilical cord, and that's how we grew over the next 40 weeks. So that happened at about 1 week. In about 3.5 weeks, our heart started to beat for the very first time, and a doctor with a really strong stethoscope could hear our heartbeat. He would hear this, bump, 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 was our mother's heartbeat. And then way down deep and low, he could hear bump, 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 which was our mother's heart, our heart beating twice as fast as our mother's heart. We were already alive inside of her, and she didn't even know she was pregnant yet. And then at about 6 weeks, our brain waves started to develop. Our brain started to send signals to the rest of our body to move your arm, move your leg, move your head. That happened at about 6 weeks. It's miraculous. It's incredible. And then we continue to grow. And about 20 weeks, which is called quickening, at around 20 weeks, which is about halfway through the pregnancy, mom could feel us moving for the very first time. And I remember Debbie saying, "Ooh, Steve, come here, feel my stomach." And I would put my hand on her stomach and literally feel our child moving inside of her. It was awesome. And I would always lean down and go, "Hello in there. It's your dad. I love you." And we got the biggest kick out of that. And I believe they heard me. And then we continue to grow in our mother's womb. And then somewhere about maybe 30 weeks or so, nowadays, they have gender reveal parties. I want to know if it's a boy or a girl. And they have gender reveal parties, and everybody comes and they have a great time, and there's pink balloons or there's blue balloons or whatever it ends up being. It's so much fun because we're celebrating that child who's still in the womb. And then at about maybe 38 weeks, about a couple of weeks before the baby's born, they start having baby showers. They don't have fetus showers. They have baby showers. I remember a baby shower for one of my daughter-in-laws not that long ago. And my granddaughter was sitting at her feet. She was sitting, my daughter-in-law was sitting on the couch. My granddaughter was sitting at her feet. She was 5 years old, staring at her stomach, which was huge. She only had a couple of weeks to go. And all of a sudden, her entire stomach just moved from one side to the other. And Emily said, "That was awesome. Do that again. Do it again." Like she had some kind of control over it, right? It was just so delightful because we're celebrating the gift of life. And that gift of life started at the moment of conception. All of us, every single one of us, started our lives on this earth at the moment of conception. That can't be disputed. There's no doctor in this world. There's no attorney in this world. There's no judge in this world that can argue with what I just said. Every one of us, our lives began at the moment of conception. And then we were called an embryo, and then we were called a fetus. Then we were called an infant, and then we were called an adolescent. Then we were called a senior, and all of those are it's called the continuum of life. Every single one of us have gone through that. That is the gift of life, and it starts at the moment of conception. So that's the gift of life. So, what is abortion as it relates to that gift of life? Well, first thing that the abortion industry has to do is dehumanize what I just talked about. Never say the word baby. Never say the word child. And that's exactly what they do. They say, no, this is a blob of tissue or a clump of cells or a pregnancy or the contents of the uterus. Those are things that they say to dehumanize that child in the womb. Because if you're going to kill a child, you don't want to be killing a child, but it's okay to stop a pregnancy. It's okay to evacuate the contents of your uterus. Those things don't sound bad, but the reality of it is they are bad. Interestingly, President Biden in 2022 at Andrews Air Force Base, I remember this distinctly, was being interviewed about the abortion issue. Somebody asked him a question about abortion. He twice in his answer said child. He slipped and said child because we've been saying child since the beginning of time. It's a child in the womb. We don't refer to the fetus. We refer to the child in the womb. He was lambasted by the abortion industry for slipping up. What did he do? He's not supposed to do that. That's not what we're supposed to say. So we come forward to today, Amendment 3. In November, we voted in the state of Missouri to change our state constitution, to put an amendment in our state constitution that enshrines abortion in our state constitution. But that's not what it said when we went in the voting booth. What it said when we went in the voting booth was, this is a reproductive freedom initiative. A reproductive freedom initiative? What does that mean? Freedom to do what? It didn't say in the amendment that we were voting on, it didn't say the word child. It didn't say the word baby. It used the word freedom, reproductive freedom. We have to ask the freedom to do what? Here's what we put in our state constitution. The freedom to literally starve an innocent child to death. The freedom to poison an innocent child. The freedom to allow an innocent child in the womb to bleed to death after having been dismembered. That's in our state constitution. The first one, starving a child to death, that's from the abortion pill. We hear about the abortion pill, right? This is a good thing. You can have the privacy of in your own home of reproductive freedom. So what do? We had a woman by the name of Sue Thayer come and speak to us one time. Sue Thayer ran the abortion facility, the Planned Parenthood in Storm Lake, Iowa, for 18 years. They were one of the first clinics in the country to sell the abortion pill. And she said, here's what we would tell the women. Take this pill. This pill will stop the growth in your uterus. What does that mean? Stop the growth in your, what's growing in your uterus? Your child. She said, we didn't tell them that this will kill your child. They wouldn't take it. We said, this will stop the growth in your uterus. It robs that child in the womb of the nutrients that were coming from the mother. The food that the mother was eating and the nutrients that went from there through the umbilical cord into that child, it robs that child of those nutrients. And literally, the child starves to death. And the second pill is designed, they take it 2 days later, the second pill is designed to force the woman to go into early labor and deliver a dead baby. She said, we would tell them, when you start feeling cramps, go into the bathroom and straddle your toilet and empty the contents of your uterus into the toilet. That is in our state constitution. That revered document, the document that houses our freedoms, the freedom of speech, the freedom of religion, the freedom to travel, the freedom to associate. And we have put this in that revered document? Also, there's another type of abortion. I mentioned that the poisoning of a child in the womb. There's a poison called potassium chloride. It's one of the most toxic poisons on the face of the earth. And an abortionist will take a syringe filled with potassium chloride, wind that needle through the mother's abdomen, into her womb, through the wall of the child in the womb, and into that child's heart, and inject potassium chloride to do one thing, to kill that child. That is in our state constitution. Is that what that Constitution's for? It's in our state constitution to literally dismember an innocent little child, to tear their arms and their legs off, and allow that child to then die by bleeding to death. That is in our state constitution. We have got to change this. We have got to change this. We have got to repeal and replace Amendment 3. Please, we ask people, help us. Help us. Here's what people can do. People can get involved with Missouri Right to Life. Get on our website. Sign up as a member of Missouri Right to Life. You'll get weekly lifeline information on what's going on in the abortion industry, what's going on in the pro-life arena. You're going to get alerts as to when to send a note to your legislators to say, we need you to vote for this legislation. We need to hold those legislators' feet to the fire. And you can pray. The most important thing that you can do is pray. Pray that we reach the hearts of the people in the state of Missouri, and we enable the people of this state to be able to repeal and replace Amendment 3. That's what you can do. Please keep us in your prayers. Thank you, and God bless.